Hi, you're watching cEDH TV with another deck tech video about Sultai. This time around we are focusing at Thrasios and Silas Renn Seeker Adept with a Paradox Engine PST build. When you build PST builds focusing on Thrasios, you mostly go for the Smasher or Tymna for more color identities, and also that Tymna has a great card drawing ability. But this Demir Partner Artifact Commander actually have two great use inside this Paradox Engine build. First up, he doesn't actually draw cards, he reanimates artifacts from your graveyard, and when Paradox Engine gets counterspelled and ends up in your graveyard, this Seeker Adept can bring it back. Tymna can't actually do that. There's one more thing about Silas Renn, that he's an artifact. So with Arcum dagsson for 4 mana, so begin with casting Silas Renn for 3 mana, cast Arcum dagsson for 4 mana, pass turn and hope that Arcum dagsson actually survives the turn cycle. Then tap Arcum dagsson and sacrifice Silas Renn and rebuild him into an Paradox Engine. But we could also rebuild him into a big building, bolas'scitadel for 3 black mana and 3 generic legendary artifact. Now you can actually reshape this Seeker Adept into a lot of different combo piece artifacts within this deck. First of example, we have already talked about Paradox Engine, then we can build an Aetherflux Reservoir, which is going to be our win con and will function great with bolas'scitadel. Then of course Sensei's Divining Top, which will also work wonders with both Paradox Engine and bolas'scitadel. And of course Isochron Scepter that will, if we have Dramatic Reversal in on hand, will perform the Scepter combo. Now a PST build focused around Paradox Engine and Thrasios will also function great with a bolas'scitadel. Both strategies are kinda doing the same thing. The PST is focusing on a really low CMC cost overall inside your deck, so that whenever you activate your Thrasios for 4 mana, you wanna draw into something that costs maybe 0, 1 or 2. If you draw into something that costs 4 mana with your Thrasios, maybe you can't cast that with your remaining mana from your rocks and mana dogs, and that means that you can't get the Paradox Engine trigger, and that means that you can't continue this dig. So you want to have a low CMC cost with your PST build. So that means that bolas'scitadel that also want to have a really low CMC cost overall will also function inside this deck. You could kinda call it a secondary Paradox Engine. Now this really big black life draining building will put one more deck construction demand on our build. Good top decking manipulation, because when you top deck into your secondary land on top of your deck, this bolas'scitadel combo will stop. So it could fizzle, just like how Paradox Engine could also fizzle. But with good top decking manipulation, we could get past that. We could trick the deck into changing what's on top of the deck with either shuffle or simply drawing a card. You're actually looking at one of the solutions. Thrasios can actually draw a card. So during the combo run, when you're digging through your deck with bolas'scitadel, you might draw into some rocks that you cast and put into play. Now tap these rocks for mana and activate Thrasios and scry that land to the bottom of your deck, and then draw a card. And hopefully the next card on top of your deck isn't going to be a land card. But I also consider that when you're constructing your deck and trying to make your combo as good as humanly possible, you're not creating a bad deck. You're not including cards that will make the combo good, but will make the deck bad. So let's look at a bunch of cards that are gonna help this deck, help this combo function great, but will also make the deck into a really good deck. Cards that are good inside cEDH, even though you're not actually trying to win with this combo. Here we are looking at 5 different artifact cards with a really low CMC cost, which means they're gonna be working perfect inside our combo build. But also, whenever you run into a land on top of your deck, you can sacrifice one of these artifacts except Mishra's Bubble, because Mishra's Bubble will draw a card the next upkeep. But for example, Nihil Spellbomb, if you have a land on top of your deck, sacrifice Nihil Spellbomb, draw that land, and then hopefully the next card isn't a land. But also these cards will be working great with our commander. For example, if our commander goes to combat and deals damage to an opponent's face in response before the damage is dealt, sacrifice for example Conjurer's Bubble and draw a card, and then target Conjurer's Bubble with Seeker Adept and recast it, so now you have a commander that draws card on combat damage to an opponent. Now let's look at crop rotation. Cast crop rotation by paying 1 life, then sacrifice a land and search your deck for any land and put that land into play. Find a fetch land. You have now decreased the land count inside your deck, which is perfect, but the next time, whenever there is another land on top of your deck, crack the fetch land that you got from crop rotation and shrink your deck's land count even more and shuffle your deck. Perfect. Now let's talk about Entomb. So when Thrasios broke up with Tymna and started to team up with the Seeker Adept, we lost access to white and we lost Enlightened Tutor, but we did gain Entomb, because with Entomb we can cast it for 1 black mana in instant speed, put Paradox Engine into our graveyard, and then use Silas Renn to reanimate it and recast it from the graveyard. Now I am going to perfectly agree that Enlightened Tutor is a lot better and more secure, because it's not always guaranteed that the Seeker Adept will be able to hit face. But during the combo run with either Paradox Engine or bolas'scitadel, we could cast Entomb and just search our deck for any land and put that land into our graveyard, decreasing the land count inside our deck during this combo run. Now let's talk a little bit more about top-decking manipulation. Whenever a deck is good at top-decking manipulation, a card like Counterbalance becomes rather interesting. Normally Counterbalance is a decent card, not great, not useless. It does work sometimes. Most likely, each opponent will have the same CMC cost as you, something between 1 to 3 and some 4 cost cards. But whenever you include cards like Vampiric Tutor, Sensei's Divining Top and even Scroll Rack, Counterbalance becomes really interesting. And we are going to include these 3 cards anyway because of our combo strategy. Now let's talk about Win Con and Conjurer's Bubble. Let's say that we have gained infinite mana with Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal. Draw your entire deck with your Merfolk Wizard Commander. Follow up with casting Notion Thief, then cast Time Twister. Now your opponent's hand size will shrink to 0 and you will draw something about 28 cards if you have 3 opponents. Then keep on drawing your entire deck with your Merfolk Wizard Commander and cast Conjurer's Bubble. Now crack the bubble and put Time Twister on the bottom of your deck. Then draw a card. The draw card effect comes after. That means that we're not going to deck ourselves. Then cast Time Twister. Now we're going to draw 28 cards again, but the draw 28 cards comes after shuffling in all your hands and graveyard back into your library. This is called Twister Loops, and normally you use Noxious Revival to put Time Twister on top of your deck and then draw Time Twister with your commander. Cast Time Twister to reshuffle Noxious Revival into your deck and looping this. This means that you can loop whatever card that is going to win you the game. But Conjurer's Bubble is quite interesting with Silas Renn, because when Silas Renn deals combat damage to an opponent's face, you can crack the bubble, target it with your commander and recast it to make Silas Renn into a card drawing commander. But you don't have to go for Twister Loops, you could only focus at Aetherflux Reservoir as a win con, because with Dramatic Reversal and Isochron Scepter, you would gain infinite life, and when you're storming off with either bolas'scitadel or Paradox Engine, you would probably gain a tremendous high amount of life. And in the description below of this video you can find a link to my tapped out page where you can see my complete deck list. And I'm actually not going to go for Twister Loops in this build, I'm going for the Storm Aetherflux Reservoir instead. Now this is it for this Sultai partner combination deck tech video about Silas Renn and Thrasios Paradox Engine PST build that will also include bolas'scitadel once I get bolas'scitadel in my hands. it's not been printed yet. But there are more Sultai bosses around, and the most expensive one, Damia, Sage of Stone, which will be my next deck tech video about Sultai, finishing the Sultai series. Or, well, the Sultai series playlist will actually never end, because Wizards of the Coast are probably going to be printing more Sultai commanders, which I hope they will. In any case, this is it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it and you liked it. And I hope to see you next time. Until then, peace!